Hello, my name is Michelle Sudbury, and I'm the STEM coordinator at the Texas Education Agency. I'm excited to release the instructional series on the STEM Toolkit. The STEM Toolkit was designed to help district or campus design and implement a district-wide, campus-wide STEM program. This video series will consist of 5 videos that will go through the tools step by step. This is the 4th video for the STEM Toolkit series. If you've not watched the introductory video, you'll want to stop and go back so you can fully understand the STEM framework. All the tools in the STEM Toolkit are based on the STEM framework. That is the foundation. The objective for the video series are to empower leaders with information to help guide and support STEM decisions. By the end of this series, you'll be able to define the indicators of high quality STEM education as they relate to the TEA STEM framework, communicate the purpose of the STEM resources within the STEM Toolkit, recognize the logistical considerations that are important in planning and implementing successful STEM programs, and explore ways to include community stakeholders in STEM programming. First, in developing a STEM program for a state, we must establish a common definition for STEM education. So we define STEM education as a method of hands-on teaching and learning where students learn to apply academic content by creatively solving real-world problems with innovative design-based thinking to prepare students for future career opportunities. When we talk about STEM throughout this series, we are talking about a method of instruction, not a course or a program. In the last video, we went through the second section of the STEM implementation tools. During the implementation of STEM programming, it is important to build a STEM climate and culture, and the final section of the STEM implementation tools will help districts assess their STEM culture. This video will cover the culture and climate resources. Now, we are going to go live on the website and look at the instructional tools within the implementation section of the toolkit. The tools in this section are the STEM teaching and learning progression, the STEM fluency rubric, and the teacher, student, and family surveys. When you get to the TEA website, you'll go to academics, then STEM, which will take you to the landing page for our STEM webpage. In scrolling down to the bottom, you'll click on STEM Toolkit, which will take you to the 3 buckets of tools. We will be in the STEM implementation tools. And we're going to go down and we're now looking at the final section, which is the STEM culture and climate tools. This first tool we'll go over briefly because we've covered it in a previous section. If you look up at the instructional tools, you'll see the teaching and learning progression here. This tool is listed in this section because it is a key document for educators to transition from a traditional approach to instruction to a more inquiry-based approach. You'll also find it under the culture and climate tools because it is setting the stage and the climate in a classroom to do STEM, the way you seat students, and the attitude in the classroom for tolerance of failure. These pieces also lead to the STEM culture and climate within a classroom. So you'll find it located in both places. If you've not seen this tool, I'll briefly explain how it is set up, and then you can go back to the instructional section of this implementation toolkit to get more information about the tool. Here you'll notice that each section in this green area has a different topic. I will point out that at the bottom of each of these green sections is the alignment to the T-test rubric. And so as a teacher works through transitioning from a traditional classroom to an inquiry-based classroom, that will increase the score on the T-test rubric. So that's been called out. So an educator can call that out to an administrator as evidence of why a higher score should be awarded, or an administrator can use this as a tool as well in completing a T-test evaluation. Down in each of these sections, you will see the starting point, which is what a traditional classroom looks like, a midpoint, and then also an advanced section showing an inquiry-based classroom. This goes all the way through down towards the end of the document in each of the different sections. There's also a glossary of terms. Let me scroll down to the very bottom. And you will see the glossary of terms that are used throughout the document to help support understanding if there's a term that is used that you are unaware of. Moving on to the next piece of STEM education, which is critical, is skill development. When we are preparing students for careers that do not currently exist, we are building up adaptability, their innovation. These skills that we are building are used in STEM careers, and these will be used in STEM careers of the future as well. So the first key step to knowing how to build these skills is identifying where skills need to be built. This tool is designed for an educator to assess their classroom. So each of the skill fluencies are listed here. If you have not seen me speak before on STEM fluency skills, these skills are called different things in different contexts. In the education world, they're typically referred to as 21st century skills. In the workforce, they are called employability skills, sometimes referred to as soft skills. And in the STEM context, they are called STEM fluency skills. And this is how we build STEM literate students. In Texas, we identified 9 skills that were called out not only by educators, but also by business and industry as the most critical skills needed to enter a STEM career in Texas. Each one of these skills is called out in a different color, so they're easily identifiable. And on the rubric, you can identify where a class of students falls. So if you are a teacher and your students that you have currently show weaker skills in verbal communication, then mindfully throughout the year, verbal communication can be embedded into instruction and products that the students are presenting. That could be verbal instead of another method where their skills rank higher. So this just helps identify areas for a teacher to focus on in building those STEM fluency skills in students. At the end, just like many of the other tools, you will see a scorecard. You will go through each of these sections. You'll notice that they're broken down communication, although one section up at the top, in this section, they're broken out individually. So you would rank, and this will show you opportunities for growth, and then also where a class of students really excels. And then there are surveys. All the surveys work the same, so I won't go through all of the surveys with you. They each have different types of questions for the different audiences. But the way these are set up is not a ready-to-go survey that you would just administer as is. What we were asked by districts across Texas is that they wanted a flexibility in survey questions. So they did not necessarily want to come up with all of these items, but they would rather have like a bank to pick from. So what we've done is this is the teacher survey. So we've categorized questions. So an administrator might select 1 or 2 questions from each of these areas or statements from each of these areas. And then you would put it into whatever survey tool you would like to use, whether it's SurveyMonkey or a Google form or Qualtrics. Different districts have different tools they're authorized to use in collecting data, but they're all designed for a Likert scale. So strongly agreed to strongly disagree. You could do different ranges if you like to have neutral in the middle and have 5 statements. You could do that as well. We typically try to not have a neutral category, so you have more decisive responses on your data. So that's why you don't see it here, but you definitely have freedom to do that however you would like to at your campus. The survey may be used in pieces as well. So at the beginning of the year, you might want to know what professional development your teachers would like to see. So maybe you give a survey with all 6 of these items, but that's all that the survey contains. So complete freedom, how this is used, we want you to copy and paste and use as you see fit. We also have a student survey bank for, or a survey bank for students. And so again, these categories are different than the teacher categories. And then we have another one that can be sent out to families. This is only available in English at this time. So if this is something you send out to families, be mindful that it may need to be translated to Spanish or common languages that are spoken in your area. And so this, again, the categories are different than what you'll see on the teacher or the student surveys. All of these tools are going to help an administrator and also a teacher determine the culture and climate of STEM in the classroom, the school, or the community. This will help you in communicating and building your program with community and family. And that is the next video in our series. We will be looking at the STEM Toolkit for community. So now I'm going to take us back to the slide deck and take you to our QR code at the end. If you have watched other videos in this series, you know that we are gathering feedback. So we ask that you complete the very short 6-question survey at the end here on the tools in this section. We would like to know what you're excited about using, or if there's any tools that you would like for us to develop for this section. If you've not used a QR code before, simply open your camera and point it at the QR code. It will automatically pull up on your screen a box. You'll click that and it'll take you to the survey. All of these are designed to be quick click surveys. 1 to 2 minutes is needed to complete it. So very fast and easy. So I thank you in advance for providing us with feedback so we can better serve you. Have a wonderful day. And we hopefully will see you in the next video series, which is the final video on community engagement.